we made some critical mistakes in the game, whether it was on special teams, offense, defense, that never allowed us to really, put the game away. So those are things that we obviously need to correct, as I said, after the game, and things that we'll certainly address with our players. And I'm sure our players, want to make sure they get it right, and they're going to work hard to do it. Great to have a couple of our guys, Henry being the Walter Camp National Player of the Week, and Bryce, SEC Offensive Player of the Week. It's always great to see our players get, positive recognition for the types of games that they play, and both those guys were outstanding in the game. As you well know, the Iron Bowl is one of the best rivalries in the country. There's a lot of people in this state and all over the nation that have great interest in this game. A lot of people have a lot of passion for their schools, which is what makes this rivalry what it is. And, it's always a difficult place to play on the road when you go down to Jordan-Hare Stadium. So this is something that our players are going to have to really have a lot of respect for and do a great job of preparing. Auburn really has a good team. They've had some close losses. They've had some tough injuries. But I think T.J. Finley is a very good, capable quarterback who can make plays. He's big. He's got a strong arm. He's accurate with the ball. He's been in an offense all year long. He's got some experience. The running back, Tank Bigsby, is, as good as anybody in our league relative to his production, performance. He can make you miss. Runs behind his pads. Brian Harsin has done a really good job, I think, with this team. They present a lot of multiples on offense that are difficult to defend. They have a very good core of wide receivers, a lot of guys that have a lot of catches. They've got good tight ends. Their defense has played extremely well all year long. They're physical. They're very aggressive in the way they play. They create a lot of negative plays for the offense. And these guys are always good on special teams. I know they lost a great kicker, but their punter is really, really good. They've got good returners. They play well on teams. So all the way around, this is a really, really good team. And I think, our players it's all about the players, when you play in this game. If you don't have success in this game, I don't care what else you accomplish in the season, there's always a but. And what comes after but usually isn't good. You've heard me say that before. So it's a big game for us to be able to continue to try to build some momentum, into the rest of the season.
Okay, with that, we'll start with Michael Casagrande.
Yeah, what is it about Jordan-Hare Stadium that makes it so difficult to play in? You guys have had some tough games, I think 3 of the last 4 times down there.
Yeah, well, it's, they've got great passion and enthusiasm, and it's like any place you play on the road. If you don't play well, you don't execute. We've kind of been our own worst enemy. When I think about the games that we've had, down there, whether we turn the ball over, pick sixes on the 1 yard line, kick six. I mean, there's been a lot of things that we've contributed to that has made it difficult. So I think the big thing is being positive about how you're going to execute and stay focused and not be distracted by all the external factors or the noise surrounding the game. But when the game starts, be able to, get in there and play one play at a time and do your job well. And that's the challenge, and that's what we've got to be able to do.
Go to Nick Kelly.
Yeah, the first time that you coached in the Iron Bowl, I mean, what maybe stood out to you or surprised you a little bit, finally, being part of that rivalry?
So you're asking me to remember what happened 15 years ago. I'm having a hard time remembering what happened yesterday. No, I've always had a tremendous amount of respect for this game, even before I ever coached here. And, the first game we played here, you actually feel it. You always respect it, but when you play in it, you actually feel it. You know what it means to a lot of people, and it's one of the great rivalries in the country, and it's great competitive opportunity for all the players on both sides to have, a game like this to be able to, play in, compete in, have as a memory legacy-wise. So, everybody's got to understand that and be focused on what they need to do to play well.
Go to Aaron Settles.
Do you have a favorite Iron Bowl game or memory from one of these games?
I guess my memories from last year's game when I was sitting at home watching on TV probably would be the most different memory of any. But look, there's been some crazy things happen. The end of the game, the last time we played down there, we had a chance to get the ball back. They had the quarterback in the game. I already mentioned the, kick six. We had one year we had like 5 chances to score inside the red zone, in the fourth quarter and never scored a point. And they came back and tied the game and we got beat. So, then we've had some really, really good, games that we've played as well. You seem to remember the ones that didn't go so well the most because they hurt the most. But, what we're focused on is not what's happened in the past, but, what we need to do to play well in this game this week.
Go to John Zener.
Yes, Coach. I know there's always going to be people who expect y'all to win every game by a few touchdowns. But is there some benefit going to these big games to be so battle tested? You guys have had to come up with some plays late in games already.
Well, hey, you always have to respect the competitive character of the players whether they have to make stops at the end of the game, or we have to move the ball at the end of the game, whether it's to take the air out of it or score. So these experiences are always beneficial, I think, and certainly we've had our share of them this year, but I think the focus is to keep players playing one play at a time and not look at the scoreboard, and maybe that helps you execute down the stretch a little better.
Go to Charlie Potter.
Yeah, hey, Coach. Just how big have John Mechie and Jamison Williams been for you guys these last few weeks, and how have you seen the other guys at wide receiver kind of come along?
Yeah, I think those two guys have had, really outstanding years. They both played very well. They both had really good production. And I think that, Slade has played really well for us. I think, Ja'Cory Brooks has, made a lot of improvement as a freshman, played a little bit more in the last game. Javon Baker, Trayshawn Holden, those guys have, when they've got an opportunity, they've done a pretty good job as well. So we want to continue to develop and have more players that can play with the kind of consistency we need. So I'm not disappointed in the group at all as to how they've progressed, but we've had two guys that you mentioned have had fantastic years and great production.
Go to Joseph Goodman.
Hey, Coach, how is your perspective of this game different after last year, or maybe how is your perspective of college football in general after last year, this week last year?
I don't know that my perspective on the game is any different. The circumstances surrounding the game relative to what we all went through a year ago as a society as well as in sports, made it a little different then, but it's, we're pretty much back to normal. It's great to have fans. It's great to have the kind of energy and enthusiasm we've had in our home games, and I'm sure that wherever we've played and wherever we play in the future, they're going to have the same kind of passion and energy. So it's more getting back to normal than it is having a different perspective. I think last year was the different perspective.
We'll go to Tony Scalis.
You had mentioned earlier that Josh Jobe was dealing with a turf toe. Was that something that was bothering him last week, and he just didn't look himself all the time?
I don't know. Josh practiced well, all week, and just had a couple tough plays in the game. And I think sometimes, when players get a little frustrated that Sometimes you're protecting them by not putting them in there when they're, not feeling confident in themselves. But, we'll talk today and, see what we can do to help him sort of, play the way he's capable of playing, because that's the number one goal we all have here.
Go to Stephen Smith.
Coach, you mentioned Damian George stepping up some at right tackle in the team, bringing him along, and the depth that you guys have on the offensive line. Could we see some more changes or some more evaluation from that group?
No, I think that, the guys that we have playing right now have the most experience, and they've gotten progressively better as the year has gone on. And, Chris Owens has done a good job when he played right tackle. He did a good job when he had to play center, really on short notice in the LSU game. Getting Darian back last week was, probably a good thing. Gave Damian George an opportunity to play some right tackle, and he's done a pretty good job of that. But I can't see making other changes in the offensive line helping us improve our chances of being successful. Hopefully we can keep these guys healthy and keep them playing well.
Okay, we got time for two more. We'll start with Ryan Hennessy.
Coach, your quarterback Bryce Young with the big game numbers-wise on Saturday. Do you believe in clicking at the right time, and how important is it for him to be playing his best football, getting awards and stuff like that during this time leading into the end of the season?
Well, I think, for all players, I think playing well down the stretch, games at the end of the year probably are more meaningful in some regards, more meaningful to the team to play your best at this time of the season. And it's more meaningful to individual players, I think. And Bryce has played well for us all year long. I know he had a great game statistically and played really well in the last game, but he's played very well in, most of the games this year. And, he'll be the first guy to, say that there's things that he could have done better on the few plays that he might have had an opportunity to do something different. But that's the right kind of mindset to have to be able to continue to improve and make progress, which he's always done a good job of.
Coach, that's actually all we've got. Thank you.
All right, thank you.